Good day. I've had this little mini message in my heart for a while now, and about a week, and I need to get it out, and I feel somebody needs to hear this. So here you go. This little mini message. First of all, it starts in Acts chapter 9, verses 26 to 30. Now it's about the story of the Apostle Paul and how he came to know Jesus, and you can read about it in Acts chapter 9, and how he came to know Jesus. And remember, he was killing, threatening, beating the Christians up until he became one. So, but here's the story. Back in Jerusalem, he tried to join the disciples, but they were afraid of him, and they didn't trust him one bit. Then Barnabas took him under his wing and introduced him to the apostles and stood up for him, told them how Saul had seen and spoken to the master on the Damascus road, and how in Damascus itself he had laid his life on the line with bold preaching in Jesus' name. After that, he was accepted as one of them, going in and out of Jerusalem with no questions asked, uninhibited as he preached in the master's name. But when he ran afoul of a group called Hellenists would be Jews that adhered to Greek customs and stuff. He had been engaged in a running argument with them, who plotted his murder. When his friends learned of the plot, they got him out of town, took him to Caesarea, and then shipped him off to Tarsus. So here's this guy, Paul, the Apostle Paul. And his story is he was the Hebrew of Hebrews. He was a Pharisee of Pharisees. He had such learning and such knowledge and such vehement opposal to the gospel. And then he meets Jesus, and now that same unction has flipped to the other side of the coin, and now he is preaching boldly in Jesus' name, and so much so that they can't argue with him. Now they're trying to kill him, and the disciples say, you know what, why don't we send him off to Tarsus, his hometown? Let's send him off there for a while. Well, you know what? History tells us he was there for 14 years. 14 years. A lot of times you get your calling, but you got to wait for it. And in the meantime, you got to do the stuff. You got to walk the walk. You got to learn to have that relationship with God. You have that relationship with Jesus, to trust on him. And what's really great, because he's the author and perfecter of our faith, and he kicks off the stuff that's holding us back, the sin and things that we do, and our bad thoughts and our bad attitudes, and he helps us deal with unforgiveness and bitterness and rage and envy and jealousy, and he cleans us up. So it's actually a good time. It's a time of trusting in him. But 14 years later, here's what happens. This is Acts chapter 11. Then Barnabas went to Tarsus to look for Saul. He found him and brought him back to Antioch. They were there a whole year, meeting with the church, teaching a lot of people, and it was in Antioch that disciples were for the first time called Christians. So what's this? Saul's waiting, and Barnabas comes and finds him out. God will send someone to get you when the time is ready. He will open the doors to get you. And Paul spent a year here, obviously, preaching and teaching. And it was after a year that the prophet comes down, and they take his first missionary journey. And he goes on from there. Great story. It's fun. You have a guy waiting. And now he's going to tour Europe and Asia. He's going to write most of the New Testament. And then there's Barnabas. So without Barnabas, we wouldn't have a Saul. Mr. Encourager, who saw beyond and saw what he was going to do. And it's a story of Barnabas as well. It's a great story, and it's really fun. So whether you're waiting or you're the encourager, don't be afraid to encourage people. Maybe you're encouraging the next Paul. Maybe you're encouraging the next Billy Graham. Maybe You're sowing into somebody that you don't know where God's going to take them. And two, when it comes time for him to come, that you are ready, he's going to come get you. That's a good word. Jesus is faithful. He's the author and perfecter of our faith. He's the beginning and the end. And he has a plan for all of us, for what we do, whether it's to be a missionary, whether it's to be a preacher, whether it's to be the world's best mommy or daddy at that time for those years. God needs all of us in the gifts that we have. And we don't have to be jealous over someone else's gifts, because we have different ones. I pray God blesses you today. I pray that this gives you hope. I pray that it gives you boldness to pray for people and to reach out. And I pray that it gives you strength to be patient, because God's coming to get you at just the right time. And then watch out. That's kingdom. That's life. God bless you. That's awesome. Have a great day.